Good afternoon. This is Catherine and Christopher Tipper of Hunter Benefits Consulting Group. Today is May 7th. It's No Pants Day, and I'm glad he doesn't read the memos.
No.
And this is On the Couch, the Friday afternoon bourbon edition. It's an unofficial holiday. HR does not allow it.
No, and this is also Mother's Day weekend, so looking forward to Sunday. All right. Our On the Couch video series is intended to be a humorous look, well, we find it humorous, at all things ERISA, 401k, etc. Today we're having what I think is going to be a pretty good episode, part of our educational series. It's part 2 in our 4-part series about who's the employer.
Which is like Where's Waldo, but without the stripes.
And yes. Okay, so today's episode is, I said we were going to have fun. Today's episode is part 2, controlled groups.
Da-da. I got him to start drinking without me.
All right. All right, now that we're back, before we dive into today's educational topic, let's turn to Kristina for today's Washington update. We have a big one coming, Kristina, right? We got to sit on Santa's lap.
Kind of maybe.
Ooh.
Kind of
maybe. Kind of maybe?
Kind of maybe. It is the Secure 2.0 Act has made, bill has made it out of committee.
Okay.
And is going to the House.
Okay, that's a good sign.
It's 11 page of summary.
Oh, the summary's 11 pages, okay.
The summary is 11 pages. And basically, what they're trying to do is they're giving more credit to small employers for having a plan.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so they're going to, they're going to increase the startup credit to 100% instead of just 50%.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Starting when?
Well, after they pass the law. Yeah, don't take any of this to the bank yet. We're not ready. They're looking at
unfunded promise.
Yes. Unfulfilled promise,
Okay.
yeah.
Unfulfilled.
Yeah. We talked about how they want to increase the mandatory minimum distribution age.
75?
Yeah,
okay.
It'll be 73 in 2022 and then 75 in 2032.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not like all of a sudden. But they do want to allow employees who are 62 to 64 to have higher catch-ups than other
Tiered
employees.
catch-ups.
Well,
You've been waiting for tiered catch-up.
Wow.
Yeah, because, the people
So
don't...
what's wrong with 65?
Light, dark.
Well, you should be retired.
No, I'm not. No, okay.
You should be retired at 65. Come on.
You're just waiting for your next tier of catch-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, we've talked about the student loan payments being used for an employer match. And, that's in there. They also want to allow credits, the startup credits, for an employer joining an existing plan, such as a MEP or a PEP. But one of the surprising ones, though, is allowing a military spouse to join your plan after 2 months of employment and being 100% vested, and then you get a credit.
Oh, okay. Now, we talked about this beforehand. All right. Now, this is actually a really good, when you understand the context behind this, it actually makes sense. But from an operational point of view,
it's a nightmare.
Oh, my goodness. So we are having tiered vesting schedules and tiered eligibility.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Pretty much. And speaking of the eligibility for the long-term part-time employees, we were looking at 3 years of over 500 hours, and they're going to reduce that to 2.
But still, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Right. And if you get your employees to make a deferral to a qualified plan, you can give them a gift card without impacting anything.
You can do that now.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe.
but I don't think it's deductible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
whatever.
And then if you have failures on your deferrals for your automatics,
Yeah.
they're going to give you a time frame without penalty to fix the problem. 9.5 months after the end of the plan year.
Oh, instead of 2.5.
Yeah. And
okay.
yeah, so that would be a really good thing. And if you overpay your retirees, remember there was
Overpay?
overpay. There
I
was
thought you said ever.
That's what I thought you said.
Wow.
Too. And if you
Talk
ever
about,
pay your
talk
retirees,
about bearing the
yeah.
lead. Yeah, wow. Okay.
if you overpay your retirees, you calculate a benefit higher than what they really earned. And we had this several years ago with one of the big union plans where they overpaid them. And some of the retirees were owing something like $100,000 back.
Oh.
Well, there are going to be some safeguards
Okay.
put in and to ensure that that doesn't ever happen again.
I'm glad this is the brief overview.
It's a brief
Holy
overview.
cow.
Oh, come on, I've skipped a lot of stuff. Oh, they want the IRS, the DOL, and the PBGC to study reporting and disclosure rules and regulations with an idea to consolidate, simplify, standardize, and improve them. Fat chance. But you never know. It might happen. And they want to expand. It's a kinder, gentler bill because because they want to expand the EPCRS so that you can self-correct when you find an error without having to fly.
That is very much, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely, and if lost and found, they haven't quite figured this out yet, but they want a national online lost and found for America's retirement plans to put people who have disappeared. And they want the DOL to really clarify their fiduciary duties in trying to find them. Yeah.
Okay.
And they want to reform the family attribution rule, but they didn't explain how.
Okay. And any rumors, hints, innuendos as to how much of this is going to pass the House?
No,
Okay.
nothing. It passed 100% through the committee.
No.
Yes.
And the committee's bipartisan. I mean,
Yes.
there's two parties in the committee.
Yes, and everybody liked it,
Okay.
Interesting.
which means it's going to be a problem.
Well, no. Okay.
You mean
Well-
it's going to pass, and now we have things to deal
It's
with.
going to pass, and then we're going to have to figure out, it'll take 5 to 10 years to figure out exactly what it
the heck that
means.
means, yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay, good. It's a full employment act. Yay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that. All right.
Back to something simpler.
Actually, yes. Yes.
Now control groups seem
Yeah.
like nothing.
Right. So, Catherine, 2 weeks ago we had our educational segment, Who's the Employer? What do you remember from that episode?
Well, I thought they were complex, but now I've been pushed back, and I think it's quite easy. It's just you got to keep track. It's an equation, and you just need to know the people involved.
Right. Exactly.
It's really, yeah. Who are they?
Who are they? So today we're going to give an explanation and some examples as to what a controlled group is.
Yep. So controlled groups can theoretically be easy to calculate because
Theoretically.
it's simple math. Be quiet over there. You just need to know who the individuals are, how much they own or control, and how much they're related to other owners.
Of how they're related to others. Right. So a controlled group has the top 5 owners of each company own a combined more than 80% in each company and an identical 50% in each company. Don't worry, there's not a test, and we're going to show you an example. All right? So, slide number 1. This is the simplest one we've got. Carl owns 100% of ABC Company. So we have the person, he's not related to anybody else, and we have the percentage, and he owns 100% of ABC Company. And ABC Company starts XYZ Company, owns 90% of XYZ company. This is perhaps one of the simplest controlled groups because Carl owns 100% of one, 90% of the other. That meets our 80% test and meets our 50% test. Now then, an example of not a controlled group. John is a 100% owner of ABC Company. It's a different ABC company. They're not very creative. John opens a different XYZ company, and his partner is Greg, who's in the XYZ company. So we're failing the 50% test because it's 50% each, because even though when we say 50% or 80%, we actually mean more than 50%. So if John owned 50.01% of XYZ, it would be a controlled group. Our third slide, we've got more people, so we've got a different graphic, all right? We've got company one, we've got John, Sally, and Sue. And in company two, we've got the same three owners. Now, why this passes is that because John and Sally own 70% of company one, they own 81% of company two. Now, this is the part that gets confusing or difficult to remember, or we just forget it. When you go to look to John, you want to see the lowest percent he owns in the two companies, and that's 50. All right? Then you want to look at Sally. What's the lowest percent she owns? That's 20. 50 and 20 is more than 50. So we meet the 80% test and we meet the 50% test. So far, so good, Catherine?
Where do they sit at the Thanksgiving table, though?
Opposite each other.
Okay,
Oh, goodness.
that's all I wanted to know.
So, our fourth and final slide or card, we do not have a controlled group, all right? Because when we look at John and when we look at Sally, all right, sure, we've got the 80, well, we don't even have the 80% covered because it's 90 and 61, all right? But then we're also failing the 50 because 30 for John and the 20 for Sally adds up to 50, not more than 50. So we don't have a control group. Have we?
So I need my calculator.
No, it's just, oh, okay, no, trust me, it's right.
30 plus 20.
30 plus 20 equals 50, not
Okay.
50.01.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So those are the four slides. All right, Catherine?
You promised this was easy.
This is the easy one.
And tell people again why this is so important to do this.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
No, seriously, thank you. All right, figuring out whether or not two companies or more, we are making this simple, we're only doing two companies, all right? Figuring out whether or not two companies are a controlled group is very important to figure out whether or not we're dealing with a single employer plan or if we're dealing with a multiple employer plan. So without showing the slide again, the last slide we had wasn't a controlled group. They can be in the same plan, but we're going to have to do our testing for company one separately from company two. We got two companies, one plan, but because they're not a controlled group, they are a multiple employer plan and the testing and limits are different. So knowing whether or not we have a controlled group, which means a single employer or a multiple employer plan, is very important to determine how the testing is calculated.
Yep, and entrepreneurs can be very busy and they start accumulating ownership in different companies, and that's why you have to ask this question.
That's why we ask it on our annual questionnaire, exactly.
Exactly, okay. So there's three key takeaways from this. We care about the individuals who own the company.
Yep.
We care about how much they own or control.
Correct.
We don't care in this case
Right, just
about
in this
entity type, EINs, or fiscal year ends. This
Correct.
is all about ownership and individuals.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, if you have any questions about this educational segment, who is the employer, please send us an email at sales@hunterbenefits.com. Go to the website, hunterbenefits.com, and of course, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that other good stuff. And happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there, and we will see you next week where we will have a sales idea. Take care.